Productive. It's what the majority of people strive to be, especially me. But sometimes it can be hard to get up and work, create a success story for yourself. Through a trial and error process, I've been able to explore many ways of time management, so I decided to compile a list of things that worked for me in the long term or I saw the potential in but weren't for me. Hi, I'm Atlas, or if we're going by my YouTube handle, Trying to Find Atlas, and welcome back to this week's video. TikTok, YouTube, and many other social media platforms have been recommending me so many mental health, productivity, daily routine videos, and so I started to strive for that at the age of 14. So, disclaimer, I am only 14, and I have a lot of personal growth ahead of me. And I'm still trying to find the time management methods that work for me. I am coming at this topic knowing that each person is unique and will require different types of tips, which is why you should just pick and choose which ones you want to try out. And if they don't work, don't pressure yourself into making them work. Please keep in mind that at the end of the day, productivity comes in many different forms, and I use the term lightly and loosely. Now, without further introduction, let's get into this video, which I actually scripted for once, and I'm very proud of myself. Tip number 1. One way that I get distracted from the tasks I'm trying to complete is my phone, particularly social media. So one way that I've been able to monitor how much time I spend on my screen that is non-productive is I time my non-productive screen time. And then I set a limit to how much non-productive screen time I have every single day. Because of doing this, I started to sort of appreciate the breaks and screen time that I did have. Tip number 2. This is also focusing on social media addictions, specifically my social media addiction. To combat it, I decided to try a reward system. Now, of course, these don't work for everyone, but it worked for me, at least for a little bit. I break up my day into tasks, and after each task is complete, I reward myself with one episode of a TV show or 30 minutes of playing a stupid mobile game. It should be noted that I don't think that taking a snack break or taking a break at all should be a reward that you have to earn. If you run into a roadblock, doing one of those things may be just what you need to finish the task and get the other reward that is not those things. Now on to tip number 3 of 7. I don't know if I mentioned there were only 7 tips in the intro, probably didn't, but just know there are 7 tips in this video. So this tip is about schedules and is a multi-parter tip. So, if you're not a fan of strict schedules, or, like me, you have no control over when your parents are going to drag you out of the house, you can just make a list of things that you have to complete and put them in an order you have to complete them. So sort of like a to-do list, except everything is ordered from what you do in the morning to what you do in the evening. If you do enjoy or are able to have a strict schedule, and by strict schedule I mean you're doing one activity for a certain amount of time, for example 1 to 2 p.m. you're exercising, and 2 to 3 p.m. you might be drawing, then make sure breaks are factored into your schedule. You could also split up your tasks into 2 categories: things you can do while you're watching a movie and things you cannot do while watching a movie or listening to music, and then alternate between those 2 things. I find that things seem more casual when you're watching a show or listening to music, but they cannot be done, or sometimes they can't be done while you're doing something else. Both of these scheduling methods require knowing a little bit about yourself, and that little bit is basically what order you like to do things. For example, would you rather tackle the bigger projects earlier or later in the day? Moving on to tip number 4, have something that signifies the start of your workday. For me, the thing that signifies the start of my day is tea. I always get tea before writing or doing anything productive because it puts me in the headspace to do so. For you, the thing that gets you into the groove could be lighting a certain candle, smelling a certain smell, listening to a certain playlist, or going into a specific room. Now let's move on to tip number 5. I feel like these are going by super duper fast and I prepared way too much footage. So putting those editing worries aside, this tip is know what makes you enjoy something. I personally enjoy something if it's organized, if it's well explained to me, if there's little room for error. You might enjoy doing something like taking notes if the page is super duper colorful, or if there's a creative aspect to the project that you're working on. Knowing what makes you enjoy something can help you put those things that you like into what you're working on to make it a little more enjoyable. Now, moving on to tip number 6. This one just might be my favorite, and knowing that, maybe I should have made it tip number 7, but I didn't. So, number 6 is about to-do lists. I enjoy lists and have many of them. I have a bucket list, a summer bucket list, a list of things that my friends expressed interest in to make gift shopping and conversations easier, etc., etc. Even this video is a list. Wow, I really like lists. But the list I want to talk to you about today is a to-do list. Can you tell that I'm reading the script word for word right now? Even if it has a time limit of a month or a week rather than the more traditional day time limit, it can still be useful to just write down the things you need to do. Then you have no excuse for saying you forgot something because it's literally right in front of you. The best part about these lists is not just that they are organized, but it's also that you can personalize them. You can make them be a checklist, or you can make them in your notes app, you can put them on a loose sheet of paper, you can draw around them, doodle on them, you can even make, like, the things that you have to do, pictures to symbolize the tasks that you have to do. So many variations of a to-do list. They're very subtle variations, but they are still variations. You can get very creative with the to-do list. I just listened back to what I said, and it sounds like I was saying to-do list. To-do list or to-do? I don't know. To-do list. You know what I mean, but I just thought I'd clarify that I see my weird pronunciation as well. I hear it. But anyway, before I say number 7, remember to like and subscribe. I'll say it again at the end of the video, but just thought I'd throw it in there right now. Now on to tip number 7, the last tip of them all. You've sat through this whole thing, you can sit through one more. The tip is take breaks. Burnout is no good for anyone. It will decrease your productivity afterwards, and it's better to be consistent with your work than to only get it done, finished. Cakes are done, people are finished. Sorry, grammar. Finished in little bursts. Because if you only get it finished in little bursts, you'll spend the rest of your time like saying, oh, I should be doing more, you know? But you can't do more because you're too tired, because burnout. So just be consistent and take some breaks. And taking the time a person needs for themselves will make them happier, and you will be more efficient in the long run. Rough days are expected and should be taken into account, but take one day of the week to rest, or even like half of a day to go out with your friends or just sleep in, and trust me, listening to yourself, it really helps. That sounds like, I know I sound stupid, it's a little cheesy, but it helps. So anyway, those are my 7 tips to maybe help you with your time management and productivity. It is very important to worry about your mental health and take breaks from time to time, reiterating the tip 7, but pick and choose which tips work for you and apply them little by little. Remember, drastic changes aren't always the solution, and habits take a long time to form, and these tips will work very well as habits. Well, that's all for me. Hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. I have a new video out every single week, and tell me what you're working on in the comments that you might need these tips for. For me, it's this channel, and I also started a comic that is coming along inch by inch, little by little, and you just saw the character design for one of the characters. Not my best drawing day, but you know what? I designed the character, and that's all that matters. Stay tuned for the next video. Like, subscribe, turn on the notifications bell, because you never know what's going to happen. My upload schedule might go all out of whack, even though I say it's weekly. It could just like fall apart at any second, you know? So turn on those notifications, and I will see you in the next video. I love you all. Please enjoy the rest of this footage. Goodbye.